Hey everyone, before we start the show, I just want to get some plugs out of the way. If you enjoy this podcast and you're into wrestling, check out the Nerds and Marks podcast or Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. If you're not getting your fill on movie and entertainment discussion, then check out the Entertainment Buffet podcast. If you want to dive into the world of video games, I highly recommend the Darkcast by my friends over at darkstation.com. Listen to them cover important topics and interview men and women from all over the industry. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to the Shelved Film Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Meyer. Now today's episode is one I am incredibly excited for because it's something that's been about 10 years in the making. Now, I've known my wife for 10 years, over 10 years. We got married on our 10-year anniversary. And one thing about her is she has never seen Star Wars. So I thought it would be fun to sit down and have her watch it for the first time on the podcast. So we sat down and recorded an audio commentary track for Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And this is her first time seeing it. So I explained some things to her throughout it. I explained some things to her before we started just to kind of, because as we started watching it, we kind of realized, like, as you're talking over it and trying to pay attention, there are a lot of things kind of thrown at you in the beginning. So we had to stop and start again, and I kind of explained some things to her in the middle, just because, like, it's been a while since I've even seen this one, so it was one of those things where, like, oh, I didn't really realize how much they throw at you in the beginning of this, but we had a lot of fun doing it, and surprisingly, she came out of the movie with a different opinion than I expected, and we are looking to do The Empire Strikes Back soon, but for now, enjoy this audio commentary track for Star Wars Episode 4, with my wife, her first time seeing it, and I really hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to have some more commentary tracks in the future, but I really had a good time with this one. And just to get some plugs out of the way, if you want to follow the show on iTunes or on Twitter and Instagram, you can at Shelved Podcast. Shelved Podcast? Shelved Film Podcast. I believe it's Shelved Podcast. You would think I know my social media by now. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Shelved Podcast. You can email the show at Shelved Film Podcast. That's what it is. And always be sure to rate and review the show on iTunes. I definitely want to hear your opinions on these commentary tracks. These are things we're going to be doing a little bit in the future here as I get a little busier in my day job, just to kind of mix things up. And these are things that I can do in a shorter amount of time. There's not as much getting people together to put together a show. So as we're kind of going through some busy time at work, there's going to be some more of these mixed in with the script episodes that I've already recorded. And just a heads up, my wife she's a little nervous as we talk, so she wasn't holding the microphone super close. So I tried to crank up her audio as much as I could. It could be a little uneven at points, but just apologize for that. We will improve that for the future recording and editing. But, alright, so why don't we just jump into it, our Star Wars Episode 4 commentary track. And if you want to watch along and line up with the movie, we tell you how to set that up. So, enjoy. Okay, so this is something kind of 10 years in the making for us.
Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of Star Wars. Star Wars is my all-time favorite movie, and you've never seen it.
Never seen it, never been a fan of it.
You've kind of picked up some things here and there.
Yeah.
Which is always interesting to me. I always like asking you, since I grew up with it. Like, I remember the first time I saw it, I think it was at my aunt's house. And I was hooked right away.
Yeah. I grew up with Star Trek.
Yeah, your dad is a Trekkie in denial.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this is just, and he's never seen it either. So, and I know you guys own them at one point, but I think you got them because like somebody left them at your house or something. I think is what your dad told me.
No, we rented out a house, and the renters, there was a bad situation. Anyway, we ended up with them.
Yeah. So what exactly have you picked up about Star Wars? Like, what do you know?
I don't know much about I don't know really anything about the storyline. I just know like different characters, and I'm a preschool teacher, so I catch like really just very, very little about things. Like I know that there's a dog monster looking thing named Chewie. Yeah. Chewbacca.
Who is actually based on a dog.
It makes sense because that's what it reminds me of. Then there's stormtroopers, which are bad people.
Yeah, you thought
they were good people because troopers reminds me of like an army.
Yeah, I remember thing. So full disclosure, you have seen 2 different Star Wars movies. You've seen Episode 7 and Rogue One.
Yeah, but that's not even really fair because I fell asleep, so I really didn't see.
And you were seeing them for me.
Yeah, I bought them for you for your birthday, so
yeah,
or Christmas, yeah.
And I remember when we first saw Force Awakens, Episode 7. It opens up with stormtroopers like attacking a village, and you're like, "Wait a minute, they're the bad guys?"
Yeah, it was kind of mind blown. I didn't have a chance to fall asleep at that point, so I was like, "Whoa, they're bad people."
Yeah.
I also didn't know that they came in different colors.
Yeah, because
I always thought they were white, so apparently there's some black ones too.
Yeah, for the most part they're white. Eventually they ventured off into like the black are kind of like the elites,
which is like makes them even look cooler than the white ones.
In the original movie, the only time they're black is when they're pilots. Like the pilots wear black.
Okay.
But for the most part, they're all white in the original movies. So you know Darth Vader.
Yeah, I know Darth Vader, and I know that he's someone's dad.
Yeah.
Which I don't know which one. I know there's a Han Solo and there's a Luke
Skywalker.
Luke, okay, yeah. And then there's Leia.
Yeah.
And I know someone's siblings and someone's a lover. And I know that there's what's his name? My God, it's our cat's name. I can't even think of his name.
Oh, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, we have a cat named Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, so yeah.
Who was sitting across the room staring at us as we record this. So the good news is a lot of that stuff you don't need to know for this movie. You don't need to know anything about who's siblings. You don't need to know anything about who's in love, because all that stuff kind of comes in the future movies. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you kind of got your main cast of characters. You got Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Chewbacca, and Obi-Wan. They're your good guys. Mm-hmm. And then you got Darth Vader. He's like your big bad guy. For the most part, all the other bad guys in this first movie don't really matter beyond this movie, because Darth Vader is the only bad guy to make it to the sequel, which you'll see why in the end. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much your main cast. Oh, and then the 2 robots, R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's your good guy cast right there, and those are kind of the only ones you need to know for this one. The father stuff, the sibling stuff, that all comes into play in the next movie. So honestly, that stuff you can kind of just push out of your brain.
Yeah, I'm excited to know the storyline of everyone.
Yeah,
kind of how they came to be and all that.
Yeah,
because I know like very, very little about their characters. I know their names and what they look like. The main ones.
A good note to throw out there is basically all of these characters kind of get thrown together by circumstance. None of them know each other in the beginning, and this is kind of how do they all get to know each other and become the heroes. So you see, because full disclosure, we've seen a little bit of this before. This is our second attempt at this. So you've seen Luke Skywalker starts as humble farm boy, and he grows into be the ultimate savior of the galaxy, basically. So this movie is kind of just the beginning of their journey. Is there anything else that you think we need to cover before we jump in?
What number is this one?
This is episode 4. So the original trilogy came out. This one came out in 1977. And it was later titled episode 4. Yeah,
because I know you said that there's an actual order and there's an order that you'd want me to see them in.
Yeah, I think the one true order to show anybody Star Wars is in the order that they released. Some people might say, hey, start from episode 1 and go to episode 7. But I feel like There's a problem with that because episode 4 is the one that explains everything to you. It's the one that tells you what Jedi are. It's the one that tells you what the Force is. It kind of introduces all the characters. And episode 1 doesn't tell you all that stuff. It's just assumed you already know it because that movie came out way later. So if you were to watch them in order, you'd probably be so lost. So I think the best way to watch them is in order of release. And I think
this is the first one.
Yeah, so this is the first one that ever came out. Now, in 1997, they released a special edition, which added in a bunch of other shit that a lot of fans hate. And some of the movies are better for it. Some of them are worse for it. Unfortunately, this one is worse for it. So it adds in a lot of extra shit that just a lot of fans hate. And it was meant to make the world seem a little bigger. Like a lot of stuff they add in when they're on the desert planet Tatooine. They cut from scene to scene and it looks like a small area, and this one they're like, let's blow it up, let's show how big this place really is and stuff like that. And a lot of it's just not very good, and the CG we found out does not hold up very well. At the time it was mind-blowing because this Star Wars is kind of responsible for creating a lot of the technology we have in movies today. Like Avengers wouldn't be possible without Star Wars. They invented so much CG technology in the original movies in the 70s that it's just never had been done before. So it's a big deal. Like Star Wars, it blew people away. It looks cheesy now, especially this being the first one. They had a smaller budget because nobody thought this movie was going to go anywhere. Everybody thought it was going to flop and be a huge disaster. Turned out to be one of the biggest movies of all time. I think if you don't adjust for inflation, this movie is still the highest grossing movie of all time.
I feel like I'm the only person on this planet that's never seen Star Wars.
You're one of the few.
So, yeah. I mean,
but we're gonna rectify that.
Huge, so yeah.
We're gonna rectify that today.
I'm excited. So,
are you ready to jump in?
I am.
Okay, so
started.
We have the movie queued up to the 22-second mark where it says "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." I'm going to count to 3 and then say "go," and I'm gonna hit play on go. So anybody who's watching the movie wants to follow along, they can follow along with us. All right, so you ready? All right,
yep.
1, 2, 3. Go. Okay, there might be like a half-second delay there. Our player kind of takes a minute. Okay, so some of the things I want you to pay attention to, just as we watch, is the music, some of the imagery, and just like kind of focus on the story a little bit.
Yeah, while I like this song, this part just...
The words... The opening crawl.
Yeah, I just find that kind of annoying.
Yeah, so this is just kind of
and I know it's like a huge Star Wars thing.
Yeah, so Star Wars is based on like kind of the 1940s serials, and this was something a lot of serials did because they were movies they released in 15-minute chunks every week. So every movie would kind of open with a thing like and tell you the story so far type situation.
Yeah.
So this is basically...
No, I mean, just the way that it's like laid out. I wish it was just like straight.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just another iconic part of the franchise.
Yeah, I've never seen this on any other movie.
But yeah, every numbered Star Wars movie starts the same. It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and then the opening crawl, and then we're in space, and it pans down to something going on in space.
Okay.
Rogue One was the first Star Wars movie to kind of break that trend. So yeah, basically we have the two warring factions. We have the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire.
Okay.
And Princess Leia is part of the Rebel Alliance, and Darth Vader's the Empire.
Okay.
Those are kind of your two sides. So the words in the beginning that we didn't really bother to read, they basically tell us that the Empire has developed a weapon called the Death Star, and it's strong enough to destroy a planet.
Okay.
And somebody stole the plans for the Death Star, which that story is told in Rogue One, and they were given to Princess Leia, and they're trying to steal the Empire trying to steal the plans back. I put the subtitles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have the subtitles on, so if you need to pay attention to what they're saying. So yeah, some of the audio from the movie might be picking up on the recording. How do you feel about R2D2? Like,
I like him. The other guy I find him really annoying.
yeah, so that's the correct answer. That's pretty much how everybody feels about them.
Like, he's like the funny one.
Yeah. R2? Yeah. C3PO basically exists to annoy everybody.
But I mean, them together is kind of,
Yeah, they kind of have that old married couple relationship.
I like that.
So yeah, these guys are part of the Rebel Alliance. And that's kind of their like standard uniform they got. And here's your stormtrooper buddies.
Yeah, I like those guys.
What do you think of like the sound design? Like the sound of the lasers? Like, is that something that sticks with you at all?
It's very like, I don't know, old fashioned, like old movies. You know? It's, it kind of reminds me of. I feel like several movies have that sound, or is that just them?
I mean, it's pretty iconic for Star Wars.
Oh, okay. I never see C-3PO. Is that the gold one?
He's the gold one.
I really don't see him. Like, is he not as popular as the garbage can looking guy?
No, he's not. I mean, he's one of the main cast, but
the kids don't talk about him at work.
No,
or anything.
he's not like a hero. So R2D2 has kind
I
of.
love his like presence, like
Darth Vader.
Yeah, and like his music when it comes out, it's like so like I'm here.
And it only gets better with the sequels. Like, in a weird way, he's kind of a lackey in this movie to like the guy who's portrayed as the big bad villain, which we'll meet later. But in the sequels, it's like Darth Vader is somebody to be feared.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, C-3PO, he's not a real popular character. He's one of the main cast.
But I feel like we need him though.
Yeah, you do. And he does serve purposes in later movies.
I can see that.
But
yeah,
R2D2,
she looks so young. Holy cow!
She was somewhere between 17 and 19.
That's
I
right,
want to
she was a
say she was
teenager.
19, but she might have been even younger. She might have been 19 when Return of the Jedi happened, which was the third movie.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one is called A New Hope. The second one is The Empire Strikes Back, which is the all-time greatest Star Wars movie and my all-time favorite movie of all time. And Return of the Jedi was the third one.
Who's that guy?
He's just the commander on the ship. They're basically trying to lie, saying that like, hey, we don't have anything to do with that. We're just like a counselor ship and stuff like that. Yeah.
I wonder if those costumes are comfortable.
They're not. People make their own costumes all the time. Like Stormtrooper is pretty popular cosplay, and a lot of people talk about because like the plastic armor stuff, I guess, pinches you a lot.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
There's like a whole group of people that cosplay as Stormtroopers, and they call themselves the 501st Legion, and it's actually like an honor to be inducted into the 501st. Yeah, so C-3PO has no idea what's going on. He's always just kind of along for the ride.
And they're in there, right?
Yeah.
And they're going for what?
They're going down to the planet that they were above, which is the desert planet, because that's actually where they were heading. But the Empire...
Do what?
To deliver the plans to somebody.
Okay.
Who we find out later is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All right, because she put it in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she put the plans inside R2D2 along with a message.
Okay. So they're going to deliver the message.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, R2D2 is. C-3PO has no idea what's going on.
She's under arrest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they don't know. They basically don't know that she's part of the Rebel Alliance. This is like when they found out.
Right now?
Yeah. See how she's trying to lie? Saying she's part of the Imperial Senate.
Oh, okay.
But he's like, no, you're part of the Rebel Alliance and you're a traitor. Because the Rebel Alliance have kind of been acting in secret.
Oh, okay.
And this movie's kind of the first time they ever launch a major offensive against the Empire. Basically, like, the Empire came into power like 20 years ago, and throughout that 20 years, a bunch of other planets and stuff have been forming a rebellion.
Oh, okay.
They filmed all these movies in England, and so there's a lot of great, like, English acting going on.
Oh, okay.
There's also a lot of crazy stories of them filming in the desert, of like sets getting destroyed by sandstorms, and so like it was just a huge challenge.
So is this the first time they've ever been on Earth?
There is no Earth in Star Wars. This is a desert planet called Tatooine.
Oh, okay.
Like the entire planet's a desert. And then like in the sequels, they have like entire planets that are ice, entire planets that are forest.
Oh, okay.
There's always like some crazy gimmick to a planet that they're on. Like in the prequels, they do have an Earth-like planet called Naboo, but there's never like an Earth or anything.
Okay.
Because it's in a galaxy far, far away.
I know, but I thought they left the galaxy.
It's never...
Or not the galaxy, but...
Like they left us and this is where they are now.
Yeah.
It's never touched upon. Like, you just assume that, like, hey, Earth's out there somewhere, but no one's ever been there.
Okay.
So, yeah, they can't agree on which way to go, so they just separate.
Yeah. God, that's just like being married.
We covered the original, like... script that George Lucas did on the podcast like a long time ago, and R2-D2 actually had a lot of dialogue.
Oh,
but
really?
His dialogue, he was kind of like an asshole, and a lot of his dialogue ended up going to C-3PO in the final movie.
Oh.
But it just totally plays differently when you can't understand what R2-D2 is saying. Twerp is not a word that's used enough in my opinion. I couldn't imagine the actor in that suit.
I've been thinking about that.
Yeah, so the actor in the C-3PO suit, his name is Anthony Daniels, and there is a guy, a little person inside R2-D2. I believe his name is Kenny Baker. And he played R2-D2 up until episode 7. He was very sick during the production of it, and I think he died shortly after. So in the next movie, it'll be the first time somebody else plays R2-D2.
Conveniently, those rocks don't hit him. Just
yeah, right? It's amazing how much emotion they convey through like beeps and whistles.
Yes. Yeah.
Like they managed to create such a great character
he just
for
glides
kids.
so smoothly over all those rocks.
Yeah. There's tons of times they kind of fudge things with R2-D2 throughout the series of like, oh, he can't get over this door because there's this huge hinge there, so they just kind of don't show it happen. So these little guys are the Jawas, basically little scavengers on Tatooine. This is really the only important thing they ever do, but they do show up. Like, Tatooine's a planet they revisit throughout the franchise. And every time...
Do they not sound like minions?
They do sound like minions.
That's crazy.
I wonder if that's where, like, that came from.
I know, right?
I think that minion language, though, is, like... It's like that situation where they brought in a linguist to create a language.
Oh, okay.
So I think it actually is a language now.
It's not even cool looking.
The Sandcrawler.
Yeah.
But everything had a toy in Star Wars.
I'm sure.
So everybody says the prequels were basically made to sell toys, and they're not wrong. Because the whole thing was Fox thought this movie was going to completely be a waste of money. And so they let George Lucas basically keep all of the rights to... He got all the toy rights. That's the thing. So he was like, how do I make my money? Let's make a toy of everything. So pretty much everything in Star Wars has a toy. Because he got all the money for it. And then, of course, he's a billionaire basically from Star Wars toy sales. Like, I 100% had a Jawa toy when I was a kid. And it's
Did
like,
you?
yeah. And it's like, what are you even going to do with that thing? Like,
That's a cool costume right there.
yeah. They do have a lot of really cool robot ideas. Less so in this one and more so in the others. This movie is definitely a lot more of, let's show all this weird, crazy shit, because we may never get to make a movie like this again.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way.
But the sequels are more like, hey, let's just follow these characters and tell a story. Like, I don't think you being an outsider, this is not the movie that would convert you to a Star Wars fan. It's the next one that would. Like, if you didn't like the next one, you'll never like Star Wars. But it's one of those things you have to start from the beginning.
Right. I usually like the first of things, though.
I mean, for me, this is one of my least favorites. Like, it's the one I watch the least. But it definitely has its moments.
There you go. It's moving.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that thing moved.
Yeah, it's basically just like a big tank.
These things are so stupid looking.
Yeah, so this is one of the things they added in the special edition. They're like, hey, why don't we put these guys walking around on these creatures in the back just to make it a little more exciting for the kids and sell more toys. But a fun fact, so when they did the special editions, they did the first one in 1997. That was the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters. They put them out in theaters.
Oh, okay.
So I saw this one in theaters in 1997.
Nice.
And honestly, the special editions are the versions of Star Wars that I grew up with. Most hardcore fans don't like them because they add a lot of stuff that's not considered very good, except for the middle movie. But this one definitely has the worst stuff that they added. And most of it's when they're on the desert planet. They don't have a lot of stuff they add once they're off this planet. Oh, I wonder if that showed up on the mic. That's fine. There's like a theory out there that R2-D2 and C-3PO are the real main characters of this movie.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of hard to debate because a lot of the movie is from their perspective.
It does seem that way.
Like, we're about to get introduced to Luke Skywalker, who's the real hero of the franchise.
This kind of reminds me of the Schwans. They like stop at people's houses and sell people things.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Yeah, so they just collect all these droids and they line them up. And they're like, hey, you want to buy? Some of these Jawas are like way taller than others.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was one of them that was almost as tall as C-3PO. It kind of looked like he was trying to like hunch over. I like that our introduction to the hero isn't this big epic moment.
Yeah.
He's just there. And you just watch throughout the movies, you watch him grow into the hero.
Yeah.
So C-3PO, one of his things is he always brags about how he can speak 6 million different languages. He's like, just shut up. Are the subtitles helping this time?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to put them on last time, but so here's a funny little to show how big the fandom for Star Wars is. This little red droid here that they take instead of R2, his name is R5D4, and there's a whole fan fiction story about him.
Really?
About how he's actually a Jedi who became a droid, and he knows that they need to take R2D2 for their mission to succeed, and he causes himself to malfunction, so they take R2 instead. And it's so ridiculous,
Wow.
but that's just how deep Star Wars fandom goes. And I don't know if you know who Chris Hardwick is. He's kind of a celebrity comedian, and he hosts like a bunch of TV shows. He says his favorite Star Wars character is R5D4 because he's the droid that almost was the hero.
Oh.
Like he was on his way there, and it just failed, and he like compares himself to that. Even though he's a very successful guy, so I don't know what he's talking about. But again, I had a toy of that robot.
Of the
one that blew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, and I definitely had an R2D2 and C3PO. I don't know if I ever had a Chewbacca toy. Like, Star Wars toys were my thing. Like, every time we went shopping, I'd always be like, hey, can we go look at the toys? And then it would just be Star Wars toys for me.
It's his namesake movie.
It is. Obi-Wan's come to watch the movie with us. Obi-Wan is my favorite Star Wars character. In this, he's an old man, but in the prequels, he's played by Ewan McGregor, who I think is a fantastic actor. And he does an amazing job. Like, as much as people shit on the prequels, because in all honesty, they're not that great. He is kind of the one shining light. Like, everybody will say the prequels suck, but Ewan McGregor is the best part. So Obi-Wan kind of remains the best part of Star Wars throughout the whole franchise. And you definitely seem to like Carrie Fisher in these movies. Like your interest always seems to perk up when she's around.
Well, because she's the one I actually do know quite a bit. I guess I don't really know that much about her. But
well, we watched that thing on HBO, her like one-woman show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how she was this young girl who blew up into this icon, and just all the dealings she did in Hollywood after this.
Princess Leia is just like a shining star when it comes to the movie franchise.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about her, so it's one of the things I can be like, oh yeah, I know she's part of the movie.
Yeah.
I recognize her.
Do you think she was pretty back then?
No.
Because, I mean, her and Harrison Ford were definitely sex symbols for their time.
Did they hook up?
So she recently put out a book saying that they did.
Oh, okay.
And, like, he was married at the time.
Nice.
And she was he was 30 and she was, like, 19. But they are the love story throughout the franchise. It's Han and Leia. And you definitely said you thought Harrison Ford was attractive when he was younger. Totally understandable.
There you go. Wait a minute, where'd she go? Bring her back. Play back the entire message.
He's so whiny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right there, Aunt
he definitely grows a lot throughout the franchise.
Here, see what you can do with them. I'll be right back.
And again, it's why this one is my least favorite. Everybody's just a better character in the sequels, and
Yeah. Was like a TV show.
yeah.
Friends didn't get good until like the third season.
Like he just says, I don't like you.
You know, I think that R2 unit we bought might have been stolen. What makes you think that? I stumbled across the recording while I was cleaning. It belongs to someone called Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought he might have meant old Dan. You know what he's talking about?
Yeah, so they definitely know what's going on, but that story doesn't really get told until like the prequels.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to think that R2 unit to make this here and have this memory. That'll be the end of it. Long goodbye. What is this? Obi-Wan something? He won't. I don't think he exists anymore. He died about the same time as your father. You knew my father? This was his test. The only concern is to prepare those new droids for tomorrow. In the morning, I want them up there on the South Ridge working on those cadets. I think those two droids are going to work out fine. In fact, I also think about our agreement about me staying on another season. And if these new droids do work out, I want to transfer my application to the Academy this year.
So I think the academy he's talking about, and this is something that they kind of expanded upon in like the books and stuff like that. I think he's actually talking about joining the Empire.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, because they were the government and everything. Like nobody likes the Empire, but like that's what you do. You know, you join the military. The military is the Empire. Which is why he gets so excited when he hears them talk about the Rebel Alliance. Because obviously nobody likes the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's just not a follower. He has too much of his father.
Yeah, this is one of those iconic scenes from this first film. Of staring off into the two suns, pondering his future, and the music, of course. I'm sure it's a very simple answer, but I do want to know how they did the two sun effect.
I'm sure it wasn't simple back then, though.
No, probably not. Like a lot of things they used to do for backgrounds and stuff was matte painting, where they would basically paint a background on glass.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and then shoot against a blue screen or something, and then the glass painting would fill the blue screen.
Oh.
Yeah, so R2 ran off to find Obi-Wan because he's a little brat.
These asteroid droids are getting quite out of hand.
I like how they're like best friends. He's just talking shit about him.
So stupid. He's nowhere in sight. Pardon me, sir, but couldn't we go up? It's too dangerous with all the sand. We'll have to wait till morning. Turn your power down. All right, I'll be there in a few minutes. Boy, am I gonna get it. You know, that little droid is gonna cause me a lot of trouble. No, he excels at that.
Yeah, this one, it just kind of
I love their
drags for
little
me.
house. It's so cute.
Yeah, the little hovel built into the
Yeah.
ground. Yeah, the whole thing with this planet is how they were talking about moisture evaporators earlier. It's the idea is like, oh, there's water in the ground and they have to pull it out of the ground. And
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Luke this morning?
He said he had some things to do before he started today, so he left early.
Did he take those two new droids with him?
I think so.
Well, you better have those units in the South Range repaired by midday or they'll be held with me. Looking at the droid on the scanner. Dead ahead. Might be our little R2 unit. Hit the accelerator.
So these are like the sand people?
Yeah, they're basically like nomads who live on Tatooine. Like, and there's no actual idea, like, are they aliens? Are they people? You never really find out.
Okay.
Whoa, where do you think you're going? Master Luke is your rightful owner now. We'll have no more of this Obi-Wan Kenobi gibberish. And don't talk to me of your mission either.
Whatever they are, they got to be hot under those masks.
Yeah,
and
right.
robes.
Oh, so actually, he
They
does
actually have a gun. Yeah, I
yeah.
forgot about that.
Well, there are 2 bandits down there. They're sand people, right? I can see one of them now.
See, there he fell.
Oh, okay.
I can't not laugh at those anymore just because Family Guy made fun of them in such a funny way that it's just hard not to see that anymore. Like, do these sand people do anything for you? Are they like freaky or
No, they're like weird.
yeah? This is one of those movies I wish I could have seen it in its time when it came out.
Uh-huh.
God. The fact that they changed that noise from the original release that he makes, it just sounds so ridiculous now. There's like a monster in Star Wars lore called like a crate dragon or something like that. It's this giant lizard dragon thing. And that's the sound he's supposed to be emulating.
Oh, okay. Is he using the Force?
Yeah, I guess that's the implication.
Hello there.
And now we get our Obi-Wan.
Come here, my little friend. Don't be afraid.
This actor famously hated these movies
Why?
because he was just kind of old and just didn't get it. And he was just like, this is something I do for a paycheck. And the productions on them were like a nightmare.
Oh.
So this is the only one that George Lucas directed. Other people directed the sequels. And he's kind of said to be not a very good director because he's not very personable with the actors.
Oh, okay.
Like he would just say louder, harder, like when he wanted something different and wouldn't really tell them what he wanted. But he was like a classic, like Shakespearean, like theater actor, and he kind of looked down on these movies, even though they were, you know, the biggest movies ever.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. Long time. I think my uncle knows. He said he's dead. Oh, he's not dead. Not yet.
I love that look he gives. Like, yeah, I'm still here.
Me. I haven't gone by the name of Obi-Wan since all before you were born. Oh, then the droid does belong to you. Seem to remember ever owning a droid.
Yeah, and this is a problem that the prequels kind of create because in the prequels, Obi-Wan and R2-D2 spend so much time together that it's impossible to think that he would not know who he is.
Right.
So it's either the idea
And
he's
Archie doesn't know him, right?
Yeah. Well, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, they kind of mess that up in the prequels. Because C-3PO, they straight up say in episode 3, like at the end of the prequels, they say they wiped his memory. So it makes sense that he wouldn't remember him. But R2-D2, they never say anything about wiping his memory. And he's kind of the one that knows everybody. And so it's just, it's a loose end they didn't really tie
okay.
up.
You're not. What kind of dog is that? Now, on the move. Oh, my father didn't fight in the war. He was a navigator on a spy spree. That's what your uncle told you. You didn't hold with your father's ideals. Thought you should stay here and not involved. You fought in the Clone Wars? I was once a Jedi Knight, same as your father.
after seeing the prequels, like, it is a good way they tie it together of the way he talks about his father. Because, like, you see the relationship in the prequels, and then this, you kind of feel his pain.
Yeah.
So this is kind of our first introduction to Jedi Knights and lightsabers and stuff like that.
Father's lightsaber. The weapon of a Jedi Knight. As clumsy or random as a blaster.
That's cool.
Yeah. So this line right here, he says it's an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. In episode 3, he kills one of the main bad guys with a gun, and then afterwards he throws it away disgusted and is like, so uncivilized.
Oh.
Before the Empire. How did my father die? A young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil, helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knight. He betrayed and murdered your father. Now the Jedi are all but extinct. Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force. The Force? And the Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us.
And all of a sudden, this movie becomes really interesting.
Really?
The
Like-
Force is really cool.
Yeah. It's why I think you would like the prequels and stuff, because the stuff with the Jedi is what's exciting about Star Wars.
Where you come from. I thought part of the message you I think you found it.
Years ago, you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret that I am unable to present my father's request to you in person. But my ship has fallen under attack, and I'm afraid my mission to bring you to Alderaan has failed. I've placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of the SAR-2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid safely delivered to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Only hope.
Maybe one of the most famous lines in Star Wars.
That's the name of the movie, right?
A New Hope is the movie.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that is a major theme of this movie.
Learn the ways of the Force. If you're to come with me to Alderaan.
Alderaan? I'm not going to Alderaan. I'm going to get home. It's late. I'm important as it is.
I need your help, Luke.
So that's the stuff that really piques your interest? When
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
How do you feel about Obi-Wan so far?
I really like him.
Yeah.
Can't get involved. I've got work to do. It's not that I like the Empire. I hate it, but if there's
He's like his fairy godfather.
Yeah. I mean, the idea is he's been watching over him for years with Luke never really knowing.
Right.
But that's something they don't really touch on until the prequels.
Learn about the Force.
I can take you as far as Anchorage. You can get a transport there to Mos Eisley or wherever you're going.
You can do what you feel is right, Luke.
The Jedi are all about everything that happens is the will of the Force.
Mm-hmm.
So they just assume everything will work out, basically.
Fully operational, we are vulnerable. The Rebel Alliance is too well equipped.
So this space station is the Death Star. This is their giant weapon that
okay.
can destroy a planet.
To this battle station. The rebellion will continue to gain us support in the Imperial Senate.
Darth Vader is so badass.
He is. So this guy walking right now, he's kind of the big bad guy of the villain or the movie. He's a Grand Moff Tarkin. Tarkin is his name. Grand Moff is
Okay.
his title. So Tarkin, he's kind of like in charge of the Death Star, basically. And he's a really famous actor, Peter Cushing. He's done so many movies in like the 60s and 70s.
What of the rebellion? If the rebels have obtained a complete technical readout of this station, it is possible, however unlikely, that they might find a weakness and exploit it.
The plans you refer to will soon be back in our hands.
Any attack made by the rebels against this station.
Yeah, if Darth Vader's something you latch onto, you would like him way more in the second movie.
He's just so cool.
Power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fortress.
Yeah, so this is him using the Force.
Oh my god. Like, what an idiot to talk to him like that. Like,
There's kind of a running thing in the second movie where anytime somebody fails him, he just kills him like that. So he kills like 4 or 5 people in the second movie like that.
Lord Vader will provide us with the location of the rebel fortress by the time this station is operational. We will then crush the rebellion.
That guy's just got a face that could cut cheese.
yes. Cheekbones for days.
He's such a good actor, though. They did a whole series of like Dracula movies in the 70s, and he played like the Van Helsing character. So he was really famous for that kind of stuff.
Side by side, Sand people always ride single file to hide their numbers.
Oh, interesting.
And these last points, too accurate for Sand people. Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise.
Yeah, so the stormtroopers found the Jawas, and that'll lead them to who they sold the droids to.
Oh, okay.
If they traced the robots here, they may have learned who they sold them to, and that would lead them back home.
Oh, wait, Luke! It's too dangerous!
I used to have a toy of that speeder. This will just be me pointing out all the toys I had. And I, of course, had Luke Skywalker and pretty much from every movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a little much.
Yeah.
And this is something we noticed watching. This is my first time watching on the Blu-ray. On the Blu-ray, you can see it so graphic.
Yeah.
And in the original DVD version, it's kind of obscured. Oh, but the music.
And how is it that we're more disgusted than he is?
Yeah, right. So those are the Empire's like fighter jets
Oh, okay.
called TIE fighters.
Seriously, he's just so cool looking.
You're a big Darth Vader fan.
I am. I think he's cool.
Wow, she is really young in this
Yeah.
one.
And now, Your Highness, we will discuss the location of your hidden rebel base.
Because they do a good job of making her seem older in the
Yeah.
next one.
Oh.
In this one,
Yeah,
she's so
how old
baby
is she
faced.
supposed to be?
Probably, I think they're all supposed to be in their 20s.
Okay.
Except Han Solo, maybe like early 30s. Or late 20s, maybe. But Luke and Leia are probably supposed to be around 21 or 22. And Alec Guinness is the actor who played Obi-Wan. I think he was in his 60s when they did this.
Mm.
There's nothing you've done. You have been killed too. Droids will now be in the hands of the Empire.
Ewan McGregor is just so good as Obi-Wan because you totally believe it's the same guy.
I want to live away from the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
Mos Eisley spaceport. You will never find more wretched hive of scum and villainy. You must be cautious.
Yeah, so this is more of the new shit they added.
Oh, okay.
It just, man, it looks so bad nowadays. I just can't believe it. At the time when they did the special edition, this was all revolutionary. And I really feel like it's the Blu-ray that's kind of pointing it out to me.
Hmm.
For me, the movie picks up once they get off Tatooine.
How long have you had these?
And so all this is new?
No, this scene is from the original.
Okay.
Basically, everything from when they show them coming into this town up until this point.
Okay.
We don't need to see his identification.
But even those little droids flying around in the background, they added those later.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Oh, he's using the Force.
Yeah.
Hold on.
A Jedi can control weak minds with the Force. Yeah, so this is all new. Like, this scene wasn't there. This scene probably was there, but that giant thing wasn't there before. They just added a lot of creatures and things into the scene to make it feel like a more lively, robust city.
Mm.
And that's something they do better in the second one, where, like, they're in a place called Cloud City in the second one, and it's a lot of, in the original movie, is a lot of them moving through, like, tight corridors, and it just felt kind of claustrophobic. And basically what they did is just add a bunch of windows opening up to the city to make it seem like, oh, there's actually in this, like, crazy place. And that stuff was actually all done really well. So now we move to the famous cantina scene. So a funny thing about this song is, I don't know where this list came from, but it was from Spotify. It was basically by country, the songs that people would put on when they were having sex, according to Spotify. And this song was the #1 in Australia.
What? Seriously?
Yeah. Don't know how they got that information, but it was a news article that was going around not that long ago. There's Chewbacca. I do like Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't serve their kind here. What? You're a droid. They'll have to be.
He sounds so weird, and it's because it's another actor dubbing over his voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was watching. So when they put out the Blu-rays, was the first time they ever put out deleted scenes for this movie. And there was a scene here, and on the deleted scenes they had the original actor, and he was just extremely British. Was the only way I could describe it. And yeah, for some reason they just chose to dub over him. And yeah, I was just like, hey, let's have this crazy scene with all these weird aliens.
He's so cute.
So these guys, these two, they actually had a little cameo in Rogue One. And it was kind of one of those nods to the fan. It was so brief that only a fan would have picked it out. Like, it was definitely one of those scenes when I saw it, I was like, look, it's those guys.
I'll be careful. You'll be dead. This little one's not worth the effort. Come, let me get you something.
Why wouldn't he just use the Force?
Luke?
No, why wouldn't...
Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the lightsaber's quicker.
Oh, okay.
I love the sound effects for the lightsabers.
Yeah, me too.
It's just one of those things.
Too bad they were first made on a ship with light suiters.
And everybody's just like, yeah, whatever. This guy got his arm cut off.
I guess I can look at this.
I know you're a big fan of those CG horses or whatever they're
love
supposed
them.
to be.
They're not ugly or stupid or anything.
But you know what? I bet they sold 1 billion toys of them.
Probably did.
Han Solo. I'm Captain William Fong. Chewie here tells me you're looking for a passage to the Alderaan.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised that, like, Brad Pitt, like, his early look was, like, inspired by this.
I mean, Han Solo was, or
'Cause he
Harrison
is
Ford.
attractive.
Yeah,
Ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
he's fucking Harrison Ford. He's a legend. Not only was he Han Solo, he was Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the big Corellian ships now. She's fast enough for you already.
I mean, Han Solo will forever be my favorite Harrison Ford character. He's just so badass.
So why are they meeting?
Because Han Solo has a ship, and they need a ship to get to Alderaan. And Obi-Wan was talking to Chewbacca, and Chewbacca's like, I think our ship will serve your needs.
What's on Alderaan?
Alderaan is where they have to bring R2-D2.
Okay.
It's where Princess Leia was asking them to bring R2-D2.
Oh, okay.
But something happens on the way there that we'll see later.
Okay.
And Han Solo's ship is the Millennium Falcon, which is the ship in Star Wars.
Okay. Are they negotiating price?
Yeah. And Obi-Wan just offered him more than what he was asking.
Okay.
And Han Solo owes somebody a lot of money, so that's why it's important. Again, I like how they just come. They were just pointed in this direction. They come and look. They don't ask questions. Then they leave.
Those guys would really be desperate. This could really save my neck. Get back to the ship. Get ready. You'll have to send in a speeder.
So is he in disguise, or just because it was bright out?
I think it was just because it was bright out.
Okay.
Yeah, so this guy's a bounty hunter, and he's coming to collect the money that Han Solo owes to Jabba the Hutt. This guy's name is Greedo. And this is kind of one of those like famous scenes. It's been fucked with so many times in Star Wars that it's just called the Who Shot First scene, because in the original release of the movie, Han Solo was the only one to shoot. He just kills this guy. But then George Lucas was like, oh, he's supposed to be a good guy, and that makes him look like an asshole. So then he made it that Greedo shoots first, and then Han shoots him afterwards. And then they went back and changed it a third time and made it so they shot at almost the same time. And people just don't give a fuck. So yeah, they kind of shot at the same time there.
Yeah.
In the original version, he's just like, I bet you have, and then he just shoots him. They're like, no, that makes him seem like too much of a bad guy. So they felt the need to keep...
I don't think it would have mattered.
I don't either. And fans don't think it would either.
Yeah.
Because it just makes Han Solo look like a badass.
Right.
Her resistance to the mind probe is considerable. It will be some time before we can extract any information from her.
The final checkout is completed. All systems are operational. What course shall we set?
Perhaps she would respond to an alternative form of persuasion.
What do you mean?
I think it is time we demonstrated the full power of this station. Set your course for Alderaan. With pleasure. Lock the door after you.
So yeah, Alderaan's a pretty popular planet right now.
Okay.
It'd be one of those things where I would love to just be a stormtrooper in Star Wars.
Right?
Like, don't even give me a line. Just let me be in the armor and be on set.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig played a stormtrooper in episode 7.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you
that's kinda
remember
cool.
the scene where she was on the gurney and she tells the stormtrooper to let her go, and then he doesn't do it, and then she asks again, and then he lets her go?
No.
Oh, well, that stormtrooper was... I don't know if he was actually in the costume, but Daniel Craig did the voice for him.
That's cool.
I think he was in the costume. And it was one of those things I remember hearing a long time ago that like, oh, Daniel Craig was going to be in Star Wars, and then totally forgot about it. Yeah, so this is Jabba the Hutt. This is the guy he owes the money to. He's basically like a crime lord on Tatooine. And this was a scene not in the original movie.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of doesn't need to be here because they literally just go through all the same information that him and Greedo just went through.
Uh-huh.
But it was one of those things George Lucas was like, I want it in there. So
Another toy.
yeah. Well, this character is in the third movie.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, up until the third movie, you only hear about Jabba the Hutt, and then you don't actually see him until that movie.
I've heard of his name.
Yeah.
I thought Chewbacca was bigger.
They probably make him look bigger in the other movies. Ugh, the CG just looks so bad nowadays. So the story is basically Han Solo was transporting cargo for Jabba the Hutt, came across some trouble with the Imperials, and ended up dumping the cargo so he could get away. And that's why he owes them money. So this guy with the jetpack here, that's Boba Fett, he became one of the most popular Star Wars characters. Yeah, Chewbacca's pretty tall.
No, I mean, I thought he was like chunkier.
Oh no. They definitely make
And
him
a little bit taller.
They definitely make him look a little bit more scraggly in the sequels. Like, see how his head is like so nicely combed in this one. In the future movies, it's more all over the place. So maybe that makes him look bigger.
To make .5 past light speed. May not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid. I made a lot of special modifications.
God, he looks so young.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, he was like early 30s when they did this. Because that was the thing. He was like 32 or 33, and Carrie Fisher was 19, and they were having an affair.
He doesn't even look like 30s.
No, he looks... I mean, he's 70-something now, and he still looks good for his age.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he definitely feels 70 when you watch him talk and stuff, but...
So they're like lightsaber guns?
I mean, they're just laser guns.
Oh, okay.
The thing about a lightsaber is a lightsaber can basically cut through anything.
Oh, okay.
Aside from like some specific stuff that defend against it.
And so they're going to Alderaan?
Yeah.
Okay.
The idea is they're going to bring the Death Star plans to Princess Leia's father, her adopted father. 'Cause
okay.
obviously you know who her father
Yeah.
really is. But something happens on their way there. Because remember earlier the guys on the Death Star said they were also plotting a course for
Yeah.
Alderaan. So.
Thank God. He's so a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, he's really annoying in this one. So these giant ships are called Star Destroyers. Just to throw that out there.
Okay.
I've always wanted like a Lego Star Destroyer, but they're so expensive. He is just like an annoying kid in this one.
Yes. Holy cow.
So, jumping through light speed. So there's Alderaan and the Death Star.
We've entered the Alderaan system.
Governor Tarkin, I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Hear her doing that fake British accent.
Yeah.
I didn't notice until she pointed it out in her one-woman show that she has a fake accent that like kind of comes and goes.
Courage to take the responsibility yourself.
Princess Leia, before your execution,
Because she doesn't have it in the other movies.
Oh, okay.
the ceremony that will make this battle station operational. No star system will dare oppose the Emperor now.
Will you tighten your grip, Tarkin? More star systems will slip from your hands.
Not after we demonstrate the power of this station. In a way, you have determined the choice of the planet that will be destroyed first. Since you are reluctant to provide us with the location of the rebel base, I have chosen to test this station's destructive power on your home planet of Alderaan.
So we're going to blow it up.
Alderaan is peaceful. We have no weapons. You can't
You will
possibly...
prefer another target, a military target, then name the system. I grow tired of asking this, so it'll be the last time.
which is a lie.
You see, Lord Vader, she can be reasonable.
The fact that he honestly believes her just blows my mind.
You're far too trust. Dantooine is too remote to make an effective demonstration, but don't worry. We will deal with your rebel friends soon enough.
Yeah, so they're gonna blow it up anyway.
Oh.
Commit primary ignition.
It's kind of a cheesy effect.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty cool.
Is he honestly playing with the thing?
It's like a training thing.
Oh, okay.
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. As if something terrible has happened. You better get on with your exercises.
Yeah, so you could kind of sense that through the Force.
Imperial slug, I told you I'd outrun him.
Not everybody thank me at once. Anyone who should be at all around about owes you $100.
Interesting chessboard.
Yeah.
I love stop motion.
Screaming about it can't help you.
Yeah, but it's not wise to upset a Wookiee.
But sir, nobody
A
got his
Wookiee, that's right.
Yeah, that's what Chewbacca is a Wookiee.
Arms out of their sockets when they lose. Wookiees are known to do that.
I see your point, sir. I suggest a new strategy, Arthur. Let the Wookiee win.
The same guy has also played Chewbacca in every movie.
Oh, okay.
As Peter Mayhew. He's this really tall guy.
Does he speak or he just makes those weird noises?
No, he just makes dog noises. But characters can understand him.
Remember, a Jedi can feel the force flowing through him.
You mean it controls your actions?
Partially, but it also obeys your commands.
Wookiee religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
You don't believe in the Force, do you?
Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
Now, how is this something you can believe in or not believe in if you're getting choked by it?
Some people just, and so that's a thing in episode 7, like currently Han Solo is not a believer, but when it comes around to episode 7, he says, I've seen it, the Force, the Jedi, it's true, all of it, you know. This is an age, like it's been 20 to 30 years since all the Jedi were wiped out, so it's just been time where some people think those are old stories and that they weren't true
Oh, okay.
because nobody's really encountered it.
So they don't believe it until they see it type thing.
Yeah.
Stretch out with your feelings.
And it's also one of those things, it's not something everybody can do. It's like you're gifted with the Force or you're not.
Oh, okay.
See? You can do it.
I call it luck.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
And there's definitely religious tones to the whole Jedi and Force stuff.
Looks like we're coming up on Alderaan.
I can see that.
It's a little more heavy-handed in some of the other movies, where like one of the bad guys actually looks like a devil. Like
Oh, really?
they get a little more crazy about it in later movies, but that's the closest analogy.
Scout ships have reached Dundee. They found the remains of a rebel base, but they estimate that it has been deserted for some time. They are now conducting an extensive search of the surrounding system.
He's dying. He's dying for us.
Obviously.
Terminate them immediately.
Stand by, Chewie. Here we go. Cutting the sublight engines.
So they basically just came out in the debris field of the planet.
We've got an asteroid close. It's not on any of the charts.
Our position's correct, except no Alderaan.
What do you mean? Where is it?
So I'm trying to tell you,
There's a ship coming in.
Maybe they know what happened.
Imperial fighter.
He's followed us.
No, just a short range fighter.
If there are any bases around here, where did it come from?
Sure is leaving in a big hurry. If they identify us, we're in big trouble.
Not if I can help it. Joey, jam its transmissions.
It would be as well to let it go. It's too far out of range.
Not for long. Fighter that size couldn't get this deep into space on its own.
He must have gotten lost, been part of a convoy or something.
Well, he ain't gonna be around long enough to tell anybody about us.
Look at him, he's heading for that small moon.
I think I can get him before he gets there. He's almost in range.
Man, some of this stuff just looks so cheesy from what I remember.
Space station.
Too big to be a space station.
Because I mean, those were basically just models that they built and hung in front of a blue screen.
It kind of looks that way.
Yeah. I've watched the making of features for these movies so many times. It's like super fascinating to watch them do.
Joey, locking the auxiliary power.
Why are we still moving towards it?
Caught the tractor beam that's pulling us in.
So yeah, they're about to board the Death Star.
We're not gonna get me without a fight.
You can't win, but there are alternatives to fighting.
Some good music right here.
Yeah.
Clearly, 327. We're opening the magnetic field.
And even that's a thing. Like I think the sequels have
That
much,
looks cool.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think the sequels have much better music than even this one does.
Union station. Come with me. Close all outboard shields. Close all outboard shields.
Yes?
We captured a freighter entering the remains of the all-around system. Its markings match those of a ship that blasted its way out of Mos Eisley.
They must be trying to return the stolen plans to the princess. She may yet be of some use to us.
I honestly just hope you want to do this with the next one because as much as you like Darth Vader,
I'm getting into it. That's for sure.
I would just love to see your reaction to Empire Strikes Back. It's such a better movie by leaps and bounds, and it's just so good. And all the things you're liking are way more prevalent in that movie.
Nice. You turn the light on?
Yeah.
Get me a scanning crew in here on the double. I want every part of this ship checked.
Yeah, so they're hiding out on the ship as they're checking it. Because remember, he's a smuggler.
Boy, it's lucky you have these compartments.
Even for smug. I never thought I'd be smuggling myself. Even if I could take
Harrison Ford is just so good.
I didn't realize he was funny.
Yeah, a lot. I would
Like,
say.
I didn't realize his character was, like, funny.
Yeah, he's definitely that like roguish, cocky guy.
He just pet him like he was a dog.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Ship's all yours. If the scanners pick up anything, report it immediately. All right, let's go.
So in the prequels, it's established that all stormtroopers are clones, but it's implied later on that they did start recruiting people and using less clones later on. But you'll notice that they all seem to have like the same voice,
Yeah.
which doesn't even match the voice from the prequels.
TK-421, why aren't you at your post? TK-421, do you copy?
I love the sets of the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
Take over, we've got a bad transmitter. I'll see what I can do.
I'm surprised I don't find that noise annoying. I actually kind of like
The
it.
Chewbacca noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been annoyed by it either.
Bring 'em on. I prefer a straight.
So I never noticed the scar on Harrison Ford's chin for a long time.
He says he's found the main controls to the power beam that's holding the ship here. He'll try to make the precise location appear on the monitor.
How do you feel about their hairstyles?
Main reactor in 7
Very 70s.
power loss at one of the
I mean, it's not bad. But yeah.
It's one of those things. Star Wars clearly has a lot of, like, this was clearly a movie made in the 70s, but somehow still remains timeless.
Yeah. He looks so much like, what's his name?
Talking about Obi-Wan?
No, that guy.
Luke Skywalker?
The little, yeah. Zac Efron.
Really?
Yes, he looks so much like him.
I can kind of see what you're talking about. He looks so different in the next one. So I guess he experienced a car accident in between the two movies, and he had some sort of surgery that makes him look different in the next one, but I don't actually know what is different about him. I've never actually looked into what damage he suffered in the car accident.
How much time in between both the movies?
I think it was only a couple years. I'm not 100%. This one was 77. I think the last one was the early 80s. So I'd say it's probably 2 years between each movie.
He says I found her and keeps repeating she's here. Well, who? Who is he found? Princess Leia. The princess? She's here? Princess? Where? Where is she? Princess, what's going on?
So this was 77. Empire Strikes Back came out in 80. So it was 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, he would have grown up.
Yeah. And he was definitely pretty young when they
Yeah.
did it. And I think the next one was 83, so maybe it was 3 years.
We've got to do something. Talking about the droids belong to her. She
Yeah, Return of the Jedi was 83. So it was like 3 years between each one.
Man wants us to wait right here.
He didn't know she was here.
I'm not going anywhere.
We're going to execute her. Look, a few minutes ago you said you didn't want to just wait here to be captured. Now all you want to do is stay?
Marching into the detention area is not what I had in mind.
But they're going to kill her.
Better her than me.
It sounds like your dad.
They sound like brothers.
Yeah.
Rich, powerful. Listen, if you would rescue her, the reward would be
What?
well, more wealth than you can imagine.
I don't know. I can imagine quite a bit.
I better. You will.
All right, kid. You better be right about this.
All right.
What's your plan?
Three of you, hand me those binders there, will you?
Yeah, so they know Princess Leia is there, and now they gotta go rescue her.
Put these on you. Okay. You put those on.
Don't worry, Chewie. I think I know what he has in mind.
Master Luke, sir, pardon me for asking, but what should R2 and I do if we're discovered here? Lock the door.
And hope they don't have blasters.
That's promising.
Yeah.
Oh, this is pretty good. There's some comedy in these movies.
What is that thing?
This is a little droid. Don't actually know what those ones do. They're pretty much there for that joke. Nobody seems to be freaking out about this giant Wookiee being...
I was just thinking, like,
I mean, he's in
he
handcuffs.
stands out.
Yeah. He's in handcuffs, so he's clearly a prisoner, but still, I'd
But
be
he's-
like, I don't want to go near that thing.
Yeah.
Even those guys, they're just like, yeah, whatever. Like, no thank you. Stay away from the fucking 7-foot tall dog. In the Wookiees in Star Wars lore, they're kind of... They've had a bad rap. Like, they were used as slaves to help build the Death Star at one point. So people know what Wookiees are, for sure.
Oh, if they know, then it's far away.
But still, they're intimidating.
But like you said, he was in handcuffs.
Yeah. I'd still be scared.
This is not gonna work. I did say so before.
See, this guy's a little weird.
He looks familiar. Is he anyone?
Not that I know of. But I mean, there's so many people in this movie. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them went on to do like any number of TV shows or anything that might be recognizable. Shooting out all the cameras and they have a
Is
lot
it like
of
the
cameras.
control room or something?
It's the detention center. They're looking for Princess Leia. They
okay.
saw that she's there in jail, so they're gonna go rescue her.
The other fellow which cell this princess of yours is in. Here it is. 2187. You go and get her. I'll hold him here. Everything's under control. Situation normal. What happened? A slight weapons malfunction, but everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
How are you?
Negative. We have a reactor leak here now. Give us a few minutes to lock down. Largely very dangerous. Who is this? What's your operating number? Boring conversation anyway.
So we're a little more than halfway through the movie. How are you finding Star Wars so far?
I find it interesting. Like, good. I didn't expect it to be funny.
Yeah. This is the secret. Star Wars was always made for kids. And that's why a lot of people hated the prequels, because the kids who liked the original movies were now adults, and they saw the prequels and they're like, I don't like these movies. But they were for kids then, too.
What makes you think so?
A tremor in the force. The last time I felt it was in the presence of my old master.
Surely he must be dead by now.
So he knows that Obi-Wan is there. He can feel it in the Force.
Oh, okay.
The Jedi are extinct. Their fire has gone out of the universe. You, my friend, are all that's left of their religion. Yes.
We have an emergency alert at detention block AA-23.
Princess, put all sections on alert.
Obi-Wan is here. The force is with him.
You're right. He must not be allowed to escape.
Escape is not his plan. I must face him alone.
So while they're doing this, Obi-Wan is trying to shut down the tractor beam so they can get out.
Okay.
It's always funny to watch stormtroopers just fall over.
Watch your left. They went down the cell bank. Can't get out that way.
Looks like you managed to cut off our only escape route.
Maybe you'd like it back in your cell, Your Highness. Are there any other ways out of the cell bay? We've been cut off. That I didn't cut. I said all systems have been alerted to your presence, sir. The main entrance.
Yeah, so now we finally entered like the action-heavy section of the movie. Okay, there's a funny thing to point out. When the stormtroopers eventually enter the room where C-3PO and R2-D2 are, one of them hits his head on the door. And they later went back in the later editions and added a sound effect and like an ugh when he does it. It was just one of those things that was in the background for so long, and they decided to finally just acknowledge it.
Somebody has to save our skins. Into the box, flyboy.
See, already, she's someone who's not going to sit there and just take
Yeah.
some shit.
I don't care what you smell.
He like Yahoo'd his
Yeah.
way in there.
Really wonderful idea. What an incredible smell you discovered. Get out of here. Get away from there. No, wait.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
You forget I already tried it. It's magnetically sealed. Put that thing away. You're going to get us all killed. Absolutely, Your Worship. Look, I had everything under control till you let us down here. You know, it's not going to take us long to figure out what happened to us.
It's worse.
There's something
Perfect
flying
timing.
here.
That's your imagination.
Something just flew past my leg. Look. You see that? What?
A lot of people, like the actors, complained about filming this scene.
What?
Just because, like, they're in these suits and they're all wet. It's just really uncomfortable. It's all clearly like styrofoam stuff in there. And it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like metal.
What is that thing?
It's just, this is honestly totally pointless. It's just some weird monster in the garbage chute for some reason that's never explained. Oh, that would be so gross.
Yeah.
I do like how Chewbacca's this big monster, but they sometimes
He's-
play him up to be the baby.
He seems like so disgusted by it.
Yeah.
Like, ew.
I don't know. That's how he disappeared.
See, it's like, what's the point of having that whole monster thing if it just lets him go? And then we get this whole... So the I got a bad feeling about this, it's a line said in every single Star Wars movie. At some
Oh
point...
my god, that'd be so scary.
Yeah. You're not that strong, buddy. Oh, could you imagine? Yeah, watch when they walk in, one in the back. Oop. They just added in that sound effect later.
That map. They're heading to the prison level. If you hurry, you might catch them. Follow me.
Wow.
That's like such a Scooby-Doo moment.
Use that guard. Come on. All this excitement has overrun the circuits in my counterpart here. If you don't mind, I'd like to take him down to maintenance.
All right.
I'm noticing how much better the movie looks now that we're out of the desert.
Yeah.
Like everything's more clean and crisp.
So it's not working.
No. He's trying to call 3PO, but he's not listening.
See if they can catch him. Hurry. One thing's for sure, we're all gonna be a lot thinner. Get on top of it. I'm trying.
Everything in there would be so gross.
Yeah, just. Ugh.
As somebody who's dealt with like trash compactors in their like day job, they're the most disgusting places I've ever been in.
Just the walls coming in is seriously so scary to me.
Are you feeling anxiety right now?
A little bit. Does Leah honestly think she has the strength to keep it from like moving?
I mean, what else are you gonna do? You have to try something. Old Obi-Wan. I love how he's just this old man who's managed to walk around this place, which seems to be bustling with people.
Right?
There's always people in the background, and nobody's caught him. So this is a good example of what I told you about before, where they did the matte paintings.
Oh, okay.
So that whole background, the way it's like a big tunnel, is a matte painting. So they built this little thing for him to climb onto. And they built maybe like 10 feet down, and then the rest is all a blue screen that they would put a matte painting to make it, which is literally a painting somebody paints on glass.
That is so cool.
And then they would photograph it and like put it in to that blue screen spot in the movie.
Avoid any more female advice. Gotta be able to get at it. So let's get moving. Where you going?
No, wait till here!
Here, you big coward. Huey, come here.
He is like a dog.
Who you are, where you came from. Now on, you do as I tell you, okay?
Look, your worshipfulness, let's get one thing straight. I take orders from just one person, me.
So one day still alive. Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
No reward is worth this.
So yeah, you can see how they have a dynamic.
Yeah.
And that pretty much keeps up.
Walking carpet.
Do you remember when your cousin Derek was always saying "laugh it up, fuzzball"?
Yeah.
That was from the second one. Where
Oh,
there's like
okay.
a scene where she makes fun of Han and he laughs, and Han's like, "Laugh it up, fuzzball."
Oh.
That's nothing. I'll catch it. Don't worry about it.
There she is. C-3PO, you copy?
Yes, sir.
Are you safe?
For the moment.
We're in the
What do you think of the ship?
I think it's cool.
We're right above you. Stand by.
You came back? You're braver than I thought.
Nice. Come on.
Her hair looks all messy.
Yeah, I'm
Or
not
her
into-
wig.
I'm not into that whole.
The bun thing. Yeah.
no.
It's such a
It makes
class.
her look older.
She jokes that she had a really wide face, and it was so smart for them to give her a wig that made her face look even wider.
I don't think she has a white face.
I mean, she's got like a baby face.
I don't think so. I think she looks okay. It's just the buttons make her look older.
Yeah. And it's only in this movie that she has them. Here's another classic Star Wars scene.
I think I just blasted.
This is definitely a throwback to those old like hero moments in adventure films.
Kind of seems that way.
It is crazy to think that this is 77 and they have this badass female hero in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, she takes no shit.
No. Yeah.
Like, even she's gonna fuck some people up. A running joke throughout Star Wars is how stormtroopers can never hit anything. Like, they're the worst shots in the world.
It does seem that way.
Yeah. They did a good moment with Family Guy. They like redid the Star Wars movies with like the Family Guy characters. There it is, the moment where they swing across. But yeah, they do a moment where like the stormtroopers are shooting at them, they don't hit anything, and then one of them's like, "Have we ever hit anything with these?" And this guy's like, "I hit a bird once." Our own Obi-Wan's a little baby.
That's a cool door.
Yeah. I love that scene where they're like, close the blast doors. And they're just like, open the blast doors, open the blast doors. Here we go. The confrontation between Obi-Wan and Vader, which is not as exciting as it should be.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, just because he's
now,
really
do the
old.
saber colors mean anything?
The bad guys always have red.
Oh, okay.
And like when you get into the expanded media of Star Wars, there are different colors that mean different things.
Okay.
Like
I've only seen red and blue. So.
Yeah, there's in the main movies.
Oh no, you're right. There is green.
Yeah, and in like the video games and shit, they have like orange and purple, and even in the prequels, there's a purple one. But it kind of just depends on what kind of Jedi you are. Like in the video games and stuff, the blue lightsaber always meant that they were like a fighter, and the green was more like they were a thinking type Jedi. Like they're more likely to use the Force to outwit their enemies, and the blues are more likely to fight their way out of a situation.
So the colors don't mean the strength levels or anything?
No. But it's honestly something that's not touched on in the movies very much. It's more in like the books and the video games and things like that. But the bad guys always have red. That's a constant.
They're not really seem to be fighting very hard.
No. I mean, he's an old man. And that's the thing. You watch the prequels, and they have, like, insane lightsaber fights. And it's
how old is Darth Vader supposed to be?
Honestly, he'd be younger than Obi-Wan by, like, maybe 20 years. I would say he's about 15 years younger than Obi-Wan. Because in the prequels, episode 1, Obi-Wan's probably, like, 20, and you meet Anakin when he's, like, 9.
Okay.
The lightsaber battle that Luke and Vader have in the second one is way better.
All right.
I like that he calls him Ben. Like, he knows he's Obi-Wan, but he always just calls him Ben.
Is it because he knows? What the hell? Did you just kill him?
Yeah.
You just killed Obi-Wan?
Yeah. But don't worry. That's not the last you'll see of Obi-Wan in Star Wars.
It's such a letdown. I really liked him.
Obi-Wan still shows up in some form. Kind of like that. Obi-Wan just spoke to Luke and told him to run.
Oh.
They introduce it more in the sequel, but Obi-Wan kind of shows up as like a ghost, and it's implied that it's like they call it a Force ghost. Like, he's able to speak to Luke through the Force and appear to him, because when they say a Jedi dies, they become one with the Force. So he's able to still communicate to him and appear to him as a ghost through the Force.
Oh, okay.
Kind of weird.
So now they're going back, or what?
Yeah, they're escaping, and they're going to go to the Rebel base.
Okay.
Because now they got Leia, they have R2, they have everything they need. And Leia knows where the base is, so now they can help the rebels. Because R2 still has the plans for the Death Star inside him.
Come on, buddy, we're not out of this yet. In there? Okay, stay sharp.
I do like this music that plays during this action scene right here.
Huh.
Is there anything that like stands out to you visually about the movie? Like these scenes like through the cockpits and stuff like that?
No, not really.
Yeah.
This ship looks different than I would have imagined, though.
Which would like the Millennium Falcon, their ship?
Yeah. I think both.
They're not like sleek.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking.
That's on
Because
purpose.
Star Trek was like that.
Yeah. So George Lucas, when he envisioned the world of Star Wars, he wanted it to be a universe that felt lived in, not like it's brand new and flashy. Like, hey, this is stuff that's been around for a long time. And that's something they kind of lose in the prequels, where they make everything brand new and flashy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because what I have seen of it, this doesn't look like it.
Yeah. And a lot of people push back on that stuff in the prequels of like, oh, you know, it doesn't look like the old movies.
Like it looks dirty.
Yeah, and it's supposed to.
Yeah. Really?
It's just so hard to
Yeah.
like not see the cheesiness of it. But like when you watch other movies from this time period that do similar things, it definitely looks way better here. So like as cheesy as it looks, it's actually like at the at the time way better than what
Right.
was being done. Okay, so we're finally entering like the third act here. So they basically let them get away. Because it'll lead. They put a homing beacon on the ship and let them get away because it'll lead them to the rebel base.
Oh, okay.
So they can go there and blow it up.
That doesn't sound too hard. Just let us go. The only explanation was
Easy, you call that easy?
they're tracking us.
That's what she knows.
She suspects.
The information R2 is still intact.
What's so important? What's he carrying?
Technical readout of that battle station. I only hope that when the data's analyzed, a weakness can be found. Not over yet.
It is for me, sister. Look, I ain't in this for your revolution, man. I'm not in it for you, princess. I expect to be well paid. I'm in it for the money.
You needn't worry about your own. Money is all that you love, and that's what you'll receive. Your friend is quite a mercenary. Wonder if he really cares about anything or anybody.
God, even at this age, she was so good.
Mm.
It's kind of weird knowing that they're siblings,
Yeah.
and in the next one they straight up kiss. It's not like a super romantic kiss, but they share a kiss, and it's one of those things that like, hey, did they know they were brother and sister when they were first making these movies? Because that seems weird now. So this is the planet where the rebel base is now.
What's it called?
It's called Yavin 4.
Okay. Looks a lot like Earth.
There's a lot of Earth-like planets. So yeah, they have their bases built in these old like temples that are on this planet.
Oh, okay. It even looks like Earth's military.
Say what?
It even looks like Earth's military.
Yeah. Whereas the
Not that
Empire,
Earth has its own military, but you know what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Whereas the Empire, all their troops are in yellow armor. These guys are more rugged.
Yes, we're approaching the planet Yavin. The rebel base is on the moon on the far side. We are preparing to orbit the planet.
Oh, this just makes me so excited for the next one because it's so much better.
Mm-hmm.
The battle station is heavily shielded and carries a firepower greater than half the star.
Look at some of these guys, their fucking haircuts and
Large-scale assault. A small one-man fighter.
like as big as this movie was, a lot of it had to just be thrown together.
Well, the Empire doesn't consider a small one-man fighter to be any threat, or they have a tighter defense. An analysis of the plans provided by Princess Leia has
Leah.
I was about to say. Like,
Yeah. I wonder if that's because he's British or...
You're required to maneuver straight down this trench and skim the surface to this point. Target area is only 2 meters wide.
So a lot of people made fun of this, and this is something they actually fixed in Rogue One. So basically there's like a trench on the outside of the Death Star, and if they just follow it all the way down the trench and hit this one point with a missile, it'll cause a chain reaction that'll blow up the station. And everybody's like, oh, why would you build this giant station and have this little thing that's basically a self-destruct button? And in Rogue One, the guy who designed the Death Star says that he did that on purpose to give them like a fighting chance
okay.
because he didn't like the Empire. So that was something fans made fun of for years, that they actually went back in this new movie and kind of gave you a reason for it, which I think is awesome. It's kind of like paying tribute to the fans. And
Mm-hmm.
It will be a day long remembered. It has seen the end of Kenobi. It will soon see the end of the rebellion.
Darth Vader's the best.
I really like him.
So, you got your reward, you're just leaving then? That's right, yeah. Small debts I gotta pay off with this stuff. Even if I did,
So what was his reward? Money?
Yeah, they gave him a bunch of money, which that's what you're assuming is in those crates.
really good enough, right? Could use you. Come on. Why don't you take a look around? You know what's about to happen, what they're up against. They could use a good pilot like you. You're turning your back on them. Good reward if you ain't around to use it. Besides, attacking that battle station ain't my idea of courage.
So who's kind of been your favorite character at this point?
Vader.
Vader?
Yeah.
Well, take care of yourself, huh?
What about other good guys?
Hey, Luke.
Probably Han Solo.
Yeah. Those are both
'Cause he's
right
funny.
answers. Yeah. Those are both
Those
the correct
right
answers.
answers?
Yeah.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
And those are the characters that only get better as the movies go on. Where's Leia fall in that ranking? Is she up there for you?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really not. And he is so annoying.
He is really annoying in this one. He is much better in the sequels. And she is also way better in the sequels. Gold bikini aside.
I'm excited to see her grow up, like with the franchise, just, like get
Yeah.
older and better at the acting. Because I think what I don't like is because I just don't think her acting is.
None
very
of their
good.
acting is very good in this one except
No,
for
I think
Harrison Ford.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Harrison Ford and Alec Guinness are and the guy who plays Tarkin, Peter Cushing, they're definitely the highlights acting wise. But they were all more experienced actors at the time. Like this is pretty early on in Carrie Fisher's career. And Mark Hamill, who plays Luke.
Not in your life. That little droid and I've been through a lot together. You okay, R2?
And maybe that's why Harrison Ford was the only one to have a successful acting career. Like Mark
Probably.
Hamill went on to be, he's done a lot of movies, but
Sounds familiar.
he is most known for doing voice work. He did the voice of the Joker in the Batman animated TV series.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people say his Joker version is like the quintessential Joker. Like his voice is so good, and I didn't even know it was him for years. And a lot of people didn't. It was one of those things when you find out, you're like, holy shit, that was Mark Hamill? But as far as movies, the biggest things he's ever done is Star Wars. Versus Harrison Ford, who had a huge movie career.
So where are they going?
They're going to go attack the Death Star.
Okay.
I love these ships, the X-Wings. Like they're probably my favorite like ship design in all the Star Wars movies.
That Lego thing I bought you?
Yeah.
What was that?
That was a TIE fighter. That's like the ships the bad guys use.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be fighting those in this battle.
Okay.
This is another scene they added in the special edition. You can tell because the CG is really good, and you can see their heads moving in the ship and stuff, so they weren't models. See that how fat that guy is?
Yeah.
So, again, Star Wars lore, his name is Porkins. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And he has a whole fan fiction backstory as well. And it was just one of those things. They needed a pilot, and they were short actors, and they just asked this guy, he was like a grip or something, like, hey, do you want to sit in on this role? And he didn't even fit in the suit. They had to, like, cut it in the back
Oh
so
my
he could,
God.
like, because it was tailored for somebody else. So a really cool thing they did for Rogue One is a lot of these actors, they had a lot of unused footage. And then if you remember at the end of Rogue One, they have a big space battle above the planet. They found some of that unused footage and inserted it into the movie to kind of put these actors in, because it technically takes place
that's cool.
like a couple days before. And also a little nod to the fans, Luke's call sign is Red 5, and in Rogue One they have a different guy whose call sign is Red 5, and he dies in that battle. So then you're like, oh, well, now Luke can go be Red 5.
Right.
So yeah, all these like Death Star exterior sequences, they just bought all these model kits and like glued them together and created all this.
Porkins.
Like
Oh my
that had
God.
to have been on purpose, and that's so mean for that guy.
Trust your feelings.
It's weird how he's literally talking to a ghost, and I never found that weird until I had to explain it to you. Like, it's just something you accept as a kid. Yeah, so those are the TIE fighters. That's what I had the Lego guy of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, these are the guys that were black. So this guy with the beard, this dude right here, he was actually in a deleted scene, and he was like a buddy of Luke's who left and joined the rebellion. And so they were kind of like reunited when Luke joined the rebellion.
Several fighters have broken off from the main common.
Yeah, so Vader's going to get involved. It's just amazing how much better it is in the sequels. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen this one, honestly. So, like, I know it's cheesy, but it's just been so long since I've seen it.
Red Leader, this is Gold Leader. We're starting our attack run.
I copy, Gold Leader. Moving to position.
Yeah, so the one with the curved wings is Darth Vader's TIE fighter.
Oh, okay.
Marked and locked in.
Yeah, so the whole thing is they have to fly down this trench and then shoot these missiles at this exact point, and it'll blow up the Death Star.
All power to self-destructive train.
This reminds me of that game you played at your holiday party.
At the holiday? Oh yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, this is what it the Star Wars battle pod or whatever. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is what I was doing. I was flying through this
Yeah.
trench thing. I was not very good at it. I could never get the missile at the right point.
Guns, they've stopped. Stabilize your rear deflectors. Watch for enemy fighters. They're coming in. 3 marks at 210.
Okay, it totally looks like the ceiling of their fighters just opened into space.
Yeah.
Like, that would never happen.
No good, I can't maneuver. Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target. Loosen up.
They're just yelling stuff. I don't know if that means anything.
We copy, Gold Leader. Came from behind. Analyze their attack, sir. There is a danger. Should I have your ship standing by? Evacuate? In our moment of triumph? I think you overestimate their chances.
I kind of wish he was in other movies. He's really good.
Red boys, this is Red Leader.
Rendezvous at Mark 6.1. Red 2, flight foot. Red 3 standing by.
Red Leader, this is Base 1.
Keep faster to fire range for next one. Copy, base 1. Look, take Red 2 and 3.
Hold up here and wait for my signal.
Start your round.
That guy sounded so southern.
This is it. Should be able to see it by now. Keep your eyes open for those fighters. There's too much interference.
Red 5, you here. Where you are?
No sign of any. Wait.
9.35.
I see them. They're in range. Target's coming up.
Yeah, honestly, this one is just not as exciting for me. Like, this is probably the most fun I've had watching this one in a long time, because it's you seeing it for the first time. And hearing you actually enjoy stuff about it.
Yeah. I'm surprised I like it.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be bored of my mind the whole time.
And this is the worst one. So honestly, if we do the next one, you'll enjoy it a lot more. Like, the second one is the one that pretty much all Star Wars fans say is the best.
I get it. Didn't go in.
Okay, this is weird. This is just a stupid thing. I've never watched this with subtitles before, and he said just impacted on the surface. I always thought he said just pecking on the surface.
Hey there, I just lost my starboard engine. Get that up for your attack run.
I do wonder, like, since these were models in front of a blue screen, like, how they got some of these shots of them, like, spinning around and stuff.
Yeah.
Stay back far enough to cover you.
I scope shows the tower, but I
Nope. There's your boy. Vader coming in. So what is it about Vader? Just his look?
He just has such a presence about him, and yeah, his look too. And of course, like he has the power.
Yeah. And in this one, he does feel kind of like the sidekick to the main bad guy. Do you like his voice?
Yeah.
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 I do notice how cheap his costume looks in this one compared to the
I
next
still
one.
think it looks cool, though.
No, it looks great. But in the next one, it's all polished and shiny, and
Oh, really?
it looks so good.
His computer's off. Luke, you switched off your targeting computer. What's wrong?
Nothing. I'm all right.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan's encouraging him to just feel the right moment. Oh boy. R2 took a shot. Sees 3PO freak out a little bit there.
Rebel base in range.
He makes fun of him, but he really loves him.
Primary issue.
Oh, look who's back.
Back again.
Whoa.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
That's out of like 4 ships left out of like the 20 they sent.
Nice.
I think that explosion is also something they tinkered with in all the special editions to make it look bigger. So Darth Vader survived. He calls her Carrie right here, listen.
Really?
I think so. Oh, did they take it out? Yeah, here, Carrie. And they didn't even subtitle it because they know they fucked it up. He did not look that messed up before.
Who are two?
Yeah. Because when he got shot, they showed him, and they kind of just put in like a fire effect behind his head. But there he looks really messed up.
That's fine that he said her name.
Yeah, again, that was something I didn't notice for years until it was one of those things that got pointed out to me. And here's another joking moment amongst Star Wars fans. They get medals, and Chewbacca does not get a medal. And everybody's like, why doesn't Chewbacca get a medal? See, she looks better there without the buns.
She does look better. Yeah, but it's the buns.
She's so young.
It's a very Game of Thrones hairstyle going on.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Game of Thrones. They do a lot of things the way Star Wars
I think so,
did.
yeah.
And there's definitely comparisons between Khaleesi and Leia.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no medal
She
for
actually looks
Chewbacca.
pretty there.
I think Carrie Fisher was a very beautiful girl. Or woman. Like, even in her older age with all the drugs, she still wasn't a bad-looking old lady.
She seemed like such a fun person.
Yeah. Seriously, why doesn't he get a medal? That's so rude. They hate dogs. And you've seen Star Wars for the first time.
That's crazy.
How did you like it?
I actually really liked it. I'm
Yeah?
so surprised.
What are the highlights for you?
I really anything with Darth Vader.
Yeah. So he's really the big takeaway for you. I mean,
Yeah.
you've always been one to like the bad
And-
guys more.
Yeah, I like the villains. But Han Solo's funny.
Yeah, and you weren't
I keep
expecting
saying that, but I did not expect this to be funny. I thought it was gonna be just like straight sci-fi, just
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah, because like you said, you grew up with Star Trek. Star Trek, for the most part, is played pretty serious.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean...
And I like the little robot guys.
Yeah. R2-D2 in particular.
Yeah.
Did you liked BB-8 in episode 7,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, BB-8 is basically R2-D2, just as a ball.
Yeah. I'm so surprised. I actually thought that was a good movie.
So would you want to do this with the second one? at
yeah,
some
we could do
point?
the second one. Yeah.
I would love to do the original 3 with you. if
It's
you're up
crazy
for
now.
it.
I can say that I watched Star Wars.
Yeah. And it only gets better from here. People are iffy on the third one. The second one is definitely the best, but some people will shoot for the third one. The third one has some weird stuff in it, but it's still really good.
But the Force is cool. The sabers were cool.
Yeah. Which all that is way better in the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah.
You liked Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. And they just died like that. That wasn't cool.
Yeah. He does. Like
I didn't expect that. That legitimately bummed me out. I was like, what?
So I'm definitely surprised to see you tense up for the trash compactor scene, because that's
Yeah.
that's obviously a tense scene. Yeah, this was fun. I really
It was fun.
enjoyed. I really enjoyed hearing you watch Star Wars for the first time. And I want to do the second one with you so hard.
We should.
Like, it's so good. But do you have anything else you want to say about Star Wars?
No, not really.
The music's gonna get stuck in your head at all?
I
or-
do like the music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's classic. I love it.
I mean, it had its cheesy parts, but like you
course.
said, like back in the day, that was the best.
Yeah, for sure. And they were figuring it out on this one. They invented a lot of the technology. So by the time the next one rolled around, they were able to do so much more because they had already invented the technology.
Yeah.
So it's just like, now how do we do it better? Yeah, all right, but that was fun. This is my least favorite one, and I'm so excited to hear you get into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely come back and do the next one, and if you like that one, we'll do number 3.
Okay.
And then I think we'll probably ignore the prequels as the way they, unless you like really wanted to do it. There's definitely things to like about the prequels. I'm a Star Wars fan. I love every Star Wars movie.
you are?
Yes.
I'm surprised.
100%. Even a bad Star Wars movie is better than most movies to me. So I enjoy the prequels, but it's hard to defend them. And it's one of those things, if you want to watch those ones, we will when we get there, but I'm not going to push those ones on you. Maybe we'd watch like one of the good ones, but we will definitely do The Empire Strikes Back.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this with me.
Yep.
And I hope everybody enjoyed. I had fun doing this, and we will come back for The Empire Strikes Back.
Okie doke.
All right. See you later.
Bye.